could mean that puts the Urshifu in range of any other attack from the team. Not necessarily the Iron Crown, but maybe something that comes in afterwards if Lasse is able to get through this Indeedee, as I think he probably would like to achieve in this game. I think the double protect coming out, though, that Ogerpon not going to be able to now outspeed the Fluttermane. The Icy Wind miss could potentially have come into play there, but of course with Sucker Punch there and the correct targeting from Lasse's Pokemon, with the Sucker Punch knocking out the Tornadus, well, Sucker Punch can just go into the Ogerpon forever.
It can. The thing is, the Dazzling Gleam got the critical hit onto the Tornadus on Kylian's side of the field. I wonder, given this is a Focus Sash Urshifu, if the Dazzling Gleam didn't get the critical hit, potentially the Tornadus could have stuck around for another turn. But yeah, ultimately did miss the Icy Wind there as well. So bad luck for Kylian in that game. But also interesting seeing Kylian go for the Iron Crown Indeedee lead. I guess if that's the lead you're most comfortable with, may as well try it for one game. But heading into game 2, feels like maybe there could be a lead that Kylian could get more leverage out of early doors. Whereas in that game, really just have to pivot around that single strike style Urshifu, which wasn't ideal for Kylian, really lost some momentum in Lasse's favour.
I think the thing that the Iron Crown Indeedee combination really deals with is the opportunity for Lasse to go for Rigarath Blood Moon Ursaluna. If that goes up and is on the field, is in position, the Ursaluna gets its normal terror and starts dealing out damage, there's not a lot of room that Kylian has to be able to deal with that. So I think Kylian has to respect the Rigarath and the Blood Moon Ursaluna, but while he's respecting that, he's also making things challenging because there's that Urshifu that you mentioned there in its single strike form.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of balance to be had. I like the way that Kylian dealt with it. I mean, it's clear that Kylian knows very well how to play up against a dark type Urshifu and still manage to have a really good game. But yeah, just a difficult situation to be in.
Crucial as well that the Indeedee does not have Dazzling Gleam, it just has Psychic, so it cannot deal with the Urshifu at all, really, and at least then you've got the supportive option as well as potential offense that could have come out from the Indeedee, but because it's Psychic rather than Dazzling Gleam, not possible. But actually nowhere to be seen right now. You've got Fluttermane and Ogerpon, so a potentially helping hand, even Expanding Force, could be really good here. Yes, you can switch into the Urshifu, and you could keep something else safe, and so you might want to be going for something a little bit safer for future turns in the game, but of course follow me on the Indeedee as well, can redirect a Ghost type attack like we saw earlier on in the stream, so that the Indeedee and the Iron Crown crucially would take no damage from what would otherwise have been a super effective hit.
Ogerpon going for its Terror here, going for the Terror Fire, increasing its attack stat with Embody Aspect. And this is a really nice move to be making because the Indeedee is not going to be able to take an Ivy Cudgel without a little bit of help. Now, a little bit of a hint to how these Pokemon have been trained in Lasse's favour, actually, because that Ivy Cudgel, it doesn't matter how you train your Indeedee, that Ivy Cudgel is always got a good potential to be able to get that knockout.
Oh, no.
But because the Ogerpon's faster, that Follow Me is not in play anymore. Lasse taking full advantage of that. It's a Shadow Ball into the Iron Crown. Iron Crown goes down as well because of those choice specs, and it's a completely different momentum swing to maybe what we were expecting this turn, but Lasse has played that so well.
Absolutely phenomenal. The favour so much in Lasse's favour here. This really is flipping the tables on what we saw from Kylian's game earlier on in the stream, where it was a very fast game in Kylian's favour. Now Lasse is giving Kylian a taste of their own medicine. Now, thinking of ways to claw this back, I mean, you do have that Terror still available to you. You can get that on the Ogerpon, get a special defense boost to try and take some of the Fluttermane's attacks better, but then, of course, you're opening up a weakness to Grass type that Lasse's Ogerpon has access to as well. Of course, you are threatening Water type damage onto that Fire type Ogerpon. You now have the option to click Tailwind in order to deal with that threat. So it seems like perhaps a good play here would be Tailwind, then you Ivy Cudgel into Lasse's Ogerpon.
The question is how long does the Tailwind have in support? I wouldn't be surprised to see, bit of
Spiky Shield,
here. Spiky Shield. The Fluttermane has the opportunity to maybe do some damage, get a Shadow Ball into the Tornadus. I think that's going to be the real key here. But
very good.
Making the read, going for the Terror Water, Ivy Cudgel into the Fluttermane, knocking it out, knowing that in Tailwind it's easily going to be the faster of the two Pokemon, even with the probable defensive capability that Fluttermane has, because it is just that bit slower. The Ivy Cudgel still looked like a clean knockout, and now that Ogerpon has been knocked out first, or the Fluttermane has been knocked out, it does pave the way for that Tornadus to come in, match the Tailwind, but defer the Tailwind as well. So Lasse could take the opportunity to have another turn of Tailwind where Kylian's has already run out. But what that's going to mean, and you mentioned it earlier, is that Ogerpon on Lasse's side is going to be able to leverage its grass coverage against the now only Water type Ogerpon Wellspring on Kylian's side.
And Ogerpon Wellspring is not wanting to take that one bit. Lasse has the tailwind advantage, so to speak, at least one more turn remaining than what Kylian has. Woodhammer was connecting down into the Ogerpon Wellspring over on Kylian's side, so a good protect there, and indeed a little bit of recoil from that. Spiky Shield, Icy Wind is going to be reducing the speed stats of both the Pokemon over on Lasse's side of the field, so even though there's matching tailwind now this is where the speed calculations get a little bit interesting, and it really nice tech to have on Tornadoes. Not one that we see so commonly these days, the Icy Wind.
Do want to call out a little mechanic here because the covert cloak is being held by that Tornadus on Lasse's side.
Is it okay?
As well as on Kylian's side, but that's going to mean that the Icy Wind doesn't drop the speed of that Tornadus, which could offer the opportunity for a Bleak Wind Storm to go into Kylian's side of the field and drop the speed of the Ogerpon, so that the Ogerpons are now matching again. The watertight one is the faster one, but that's going to be negated somewhat by this sunny day.
Somewhat. Let's see how much damage this Ivy Cudgel does. Of course, Kylian does have access to the Rain Dance as well, but that is enough for the knockout onto the Ogerpon Half Flame. So that is Lasse's Ogerpon down. Kylian has done so well to turn this match around. Got Tornadoes on the field. Kylian can reset the weather at any point, even in the sun. The Bleak Wind Storm is able to connect down onto the Tornadoes on Lasse's side. So now it's just two Pokemon apiece for both of these trainers. And of course, in the back, it is that nuisance to Indeedee and Iron Crown, but they're not on the field anymore. It's Urshifu Single Strike.
That's going to struggle in this situation. I mean, Lasse did so well in the first turn to be able to take 2 knockouts, but just has really struggled to get off the ground because of the options that Kylian has available with that Icy Wind and Tailwind. You match the Tailwinds, but then at some point you've got to go for damaging moves. Bleak Wind Storm, not always the most accurate, not always the most reliable, so instead just supporting further those Pokemon that are doing more damage. Sucker Punch, though, coming out from this Urshifu, didn't do much damage whatsoever.
An indication, though, that this Tornadus is going for Bleak Wind Storm, so let's hope that it's able to connect. Gets the critical hit on the Ivy Cudgel. Bleak Wind Storm connecting doubly into Kylian's Pokemon. Oh, that's Icy Wind rather than the Bleak Wind Storm coming out in order to pick up the knockout on the Tornadus, drop the speed of the Urshifu. That's a really fantastic position for Kylian to be in.
And Kylian looks like they're getting ready to wrap this game up. Tailwind petering out, the weirdness disappearing from the battlefield. So Sucker Punch will be able to act onto Ogerpon this turn, but with the Icy Wind speed drop and the opportunity for Tornadus to get another Tailwind up, it's likely that the Horn Leech on this Ogerpon Wellspring will be able to get the final knockout available. No need to take a Wicked Blow or a close combat. Instead, Sucker Punch coming out, going to go first, actually, as a good indication of how speedy that Urshifu is compared to the Tornadus. But as we said, Horn Leech launching into the Urshifu enough to pick up the KO on it and take us to a game 3.
A lesson in not getting tilted, I think. Lasse was so dominant in turn 1, but Kylian able to keep the resolve and ultimately come out with the victory in that game. So let's unpack what happened there. Let's unpack how the tables were able to turn. Initially, Lasse able to secure the knockout on both the Iron Crown and the Indeedee. Then you have the Ogerpon Wellspring and the Tornadus in the back. Then you have the speed advantage. You also have the Ogerpon that has a favourable matchup, so to speak, into the fire type over on Lasse's side of the field. But of course, then you also have the grass coverage that can be coming out from Lasse's Ogerpon too. Seemed like speed was crucial. It seemed like, frankly, connecting Bleak Wind Storms was crucial.
Yes.
But also, what was crucial was the special defense boost that was able to come out onto the Ogerpon Wellspring thanks to the terrestrialization in order to deal with the Fluttermane. A little bit better Icy Wind, crucial as well. So was the Covert Cloak. So both Tornaduses. So much going on in that game, and ultimately Kylian was able to get the better end of it.
Yeah, I think one of the things I think that's really impactful there is the fact that the Ogerpon goes from being weak. The Ogerpon Wellspring, this is being weak to Lasse's Bleak Wind Storm, to being not weak to it and getting a special defense boost at the same time. And especially when you have that Icy Wind support, when you can change the speed tiers, get the Trick Room up, but then also still control the speed tiers even further in your favour. It doesn't matter if your opponent's got deferred Trick Room, Tailwind, you've still got the ability to put that damage on the field because you're not going to take as much damage yourself.
Well, how is this third game going to go in this fascinating matchup? It's another switch up over on Lasse's side and a switch up on Kylian's. It's time to go fast with Tornadus and Urshifu, whereas Lasse this time is bringing a slightly slower mode with the Farigiraf and the Ogerpon Half Flame.
I like the switch up there. The Farigiraf and the Ogerpon are probably going to be able to do quite a bit of work in this particular lead scenario. So let's see how that goes. Urshifu going straight for the Detect.
Follow Me coming out from the Ogerpon here, hoping to redirect something the Urshifu was going for. Tornadus only has access to spread moves. Rain Dance being set up, it possibly paving the way for future Bleak Wind Storms. Wisely not going for the Tailwind because this Farigiraf has completely free reign to go for the Trick Room. Of course, Ogerpon going for the Follow Me there, keeps the Farigiraf very safe, doesn't need to spend its Fairy Terror in order to protect better against the single strike style Urshifu.
I like the way that this Ogerpon is being more a defensive deterrent rather than an offensive one. Hyper Voice there coming out, doing nearly 50% to both Tornadus and Urshifu, but crucially getting that Throat Spray special attack boost. Not often that we see Farigiraf being the Pokemon that's doing the most damage, but here it is. Throat Spray doing so much work, and in Trick Room, combined with that Armor Tail, stopping Sucker Punch from that single strike. Urshifu, it's got absolute full capability to just go on the offensive here. Urshifu Dark, though, joining the field for Lasse.
Yeah, I like to think that this Trick Room that the Farigiraf has set up is an echo chamber. Now those Hyper Voices are so much louder thanks to that Throat Spray boost. You've got Single Strike Urshifu facing off against one another. They are super effective into each other with their fighting type moves. Over on Kylian's side of the field is also the Focus Sash, so they're going to be able to take at least one move each. And the Farigiraf on Lasse's side of the field, Hyper Voice does have that spread damage potential without needing to go for a Psychic, which the Urshifu on Kylian's side is completely immune to. And there it is. Okay, a critical hit onto the Tornadus. Both of the Pokemon down on Kylian's side of the field, down to the final two Pokemon, and still a good few turns of Trick Room remaining.
This is sort of reminiscent of Game 2, really, where Lasse has taken the early lead. Close combat just to cover whether or not the Urshifu on Kylian's side was going to be going for a Protect there. Iron Crown coming out, Indeedee coming out, so the opportunity to twist them dimensions, but also the opportunity to follow me away those wicked blows from the Urshifu. And as you said previously, Charlie, we'll notice Indeedee here doesn't have access to Dazzling Gleam, so this Urshifu, Single Strike Urshifu, is looking absolutely dominating right now.
Yeah, it really is. I think you can't safely go for the Expanding Force on this turn. You've got a good few turns of the Psychic Terrain to work with, so you're going to want to secure the knockout. Again, Lasse's Urshifu is carrying the Focus Sash, as was Kylian's, and so no point locking into a Focus Blast at this point. You need to break the Focus Sash first, and of course Focus Blast is not the most accurate of moves by any means. This Farigiraf, though, is still pretty safe on the field, able to sing its heart out and get those high voices going out, and of course you cannot redirect that with Follow Me, and it looks like quite wisely it's going to be Terra being spent. The Indeedee as well over on Kylian's side has access to the Fairy Terror, which is going to take Urshifu's moves a lot better, and it's Dark Terror type for Lasse's Urshifu here, boosting up the power of those Dark type moves if the Indeedee does indeed go for the Fairy Terror. But no, it is just going to be the Follow Me, and it's going to be feeling pretty scared right now.
Yeah, I certainly would be if I was in its shoes. A Psychic coming out,
big
covering
damage
for the Fairy Terror there. If it does go for the Fairy Terror, doesn't resist anymore. +1, boosted by the Psychic Terrain, would have done even more damage, but now, of course, a super effective Terror Dark Wicked Blow from Urshifu Single Strike. It's going to come in, break the Focus
Yes.
onto the Urshifu quite naturally, and we'll see if Tachyon...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 2 hits is enough to pick up the KO there. So Kylian still maintaining their spot in this game, knocking out the Urshifu. The Iron Crown has the ability still to go for the Terror, go for the Expanding Force. Indeed, he came onto the field pretty late. There's still a few more turns of Psychic Terrain, so it depends. As Trick Room is wearing out, I think this turn is the last turn of Trick Room, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be whether or not Farigiraf can sort of hold its ground, take an Expanding Force, and then be able to reset Trick Room for this Ursaluna.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because if you click that Terror button, you're now taking neutral damage from Hyper Voice as well. That's going to be dealing a lot more damage, but you want to be acting first and hoping that the Expanding Force is enough to pick up knockout onto the Farigiraf once you're out of the Trick Room environment, so you don't even have to worry about that. And then the Ursaluna as well, of course, threatening that big ground type damage, which is making you want to Terrestrialize into the Psychic type. So mind games are plenty here. Let's see if Kylian can make the right call.
I think the losing the Steel typing here as well, it affects the Hyper Voice, it affects the Psychic from the Farigiraf. So if you do go for the Terror, as Kylian has decided to go for now, if the Blood Moon Ursaluna goes for the Earth Power, maybe the Farigiraf is the thing that's actually picking up the clear knockout.
Oh my goodness.
It comes in,
no.
damage. It's the Blood Moon. Lasse calling it absolutely perfectly. You can't see it right now, but Lasse is absolutely popping off, making that prediction as Iron Crown's head spins its way to being knocked out and going back to its trailer.
Yeah, Iron Crown having its head spun by being knocked out there, just as Lasse was able to do to Kylian in that matchup. Well, Iron Crown indeed has been a pair that's worked so well for Kylian all season long. Lasse able to play around so well, and the Ursaluna, very surprising that we didn't see a Protect coming out just to try and stall out that last turn of Trick Room from Kylian there. But who knows what was going through Kylian's head at that point, but still very well played. And we've got to give a shout out to the way Kylian was playing, specifically that game 2, because even though down so early, not out and able to come back with the victory.
Just knowing exactly what your win conditions are. It's like, hey, those sort of things can happen in a best of 3. Sometimes the way that your opponent's Pokemon are trained can catch you a little bit off guard. And I think that's what Lasse did so well in that game. Game 2 is preserving that information in Game 1. We may have open team sheets, but we don't know all of the information about our opponent's teams. And so, Lasse really used that to his best advantage in that situation. And Kylian still managed to come back, as you said, is still able to identify that win con, use all of the tools at disposal, the ice bomb of the Tornadus, to best effect there and come back. So shout outs all around.
Yeah, 100%. Well played to Kylian. And I think what was I going to say? We were thinking about that matchup, the Iron Crown Indeedee. Yes, it takes a brave trainer in Game 3 to bring a completely different composition to the game, like Lasse did there. Bringing the Earth Lunar Blood Moon in the back, identifying this strategy that I haven't worked on yet at all in this particular matchup. I'm going to commit to it because I think it has potential, and sure enough, it did. So it's really, really well identified from Lasse there. And I know that my Phalanx is feeling a little bit scared of all that psychic terrain, expanding force action that was going on the field there. So yeah, don't worry, Phalanx, it's gone now. Maybe there will be more grassy terrain heading later into the competition.
We'll have to see. Yeah, so quite a lack of Rillaboom.
Yeah, absolutely.
This time round. We saw quite a few of them yesterday.
Yeah,
but
it was the Furhman bringing the noise instead with the hyper voice rather than that drum beat.
No drum beat inside. Well, no need for it. A solo artist
yeah, exactly.
Go for those hyper voices and keeping itself well versed in being able to carry on for a long chorus.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we've reached the little track break on the album now, trainers. It's time for us to get our next track ready and loaded to play for you all. We're going to take a small break, and then we'll be back with top 4 here at the Lanarken mid-season showdown. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. I'll be merry. He'll be absolutely cuckoo.
Recording my laptop out well as taking for some reason it's then crashing. Okay, it went crashless as soon as I removed the door. I want to suggest that we do this swap, what we just did. Like, if it's easy to do, then yeah, sure. Yeah, it's not. It's like we saw just now what we have to do as well, so like it should go smooth. Now we can keep on it. Yeah, it should only go smooth, but like it just helps for like after swap. And I'll also try to do like.
So which swap are you talking about?
So we got the direct HDMI from the Switch.
Yes. Oh, fine.
Instead.
So it doesn't affect anything you're doing right now.
No,
You won't be able to see yourself then.
Yes.
I see. Okay, I see. Okay.
You'll only see the gameplay, so you also won't have the team sheet in the job instead. So the swap will probably happen. The swap will probably happen when we have select Pokémon. Then this screen will go away, and you.
Oh, okay.
You see the
How's
screen.
this doing home? Nice to meet you.
I'll have to be there in 19.
Yeah, don't worry.
Should be. Either comment or short.
Yeah,
Well, we got a chance. I want to follow.
Hope you have a safe journey. And thanks so much again for listening to podcast.
I have to listen to this. The bus.
Yeah. We get it. No worries.
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with my boss. Like, I think I haven't said anything. I've been playing video games. Like, you're gonna play video games in computer, you know? Everything is locked. Not just videos. It doesn't help you out, so.
Yeah. Well played, Mateo.
My layers oven baked.
Hey,